Hey there, I'm Bob. Have you ever considered this? Maybe the government could just create a bunch of money and distribute it to everyone. That way, everyone could buy what they need, right? Think about it. If a government can print its own currency, why not just create enough to pay salaries, build roads, fight poverty, or even pay off debts? It sounds like the perfect solution, and at least I could quit my 9 to 5. Well, not exactly. In fact, printing too much money is one of the fastest ways to destroy an economy. Today, we're not just going to tell you that. We're going to take you on a global journey through history to show you exactly what happens when countries try this. By the end, you'll understand the terrifying power of the printing press. To understand the disaster, we need to start with one word: inflation. And to understand inflation, you need to forget money for a second. Think about value. Think about stuff. Money isn't valuable just because it exists. It's valuable because people trust it. It represents the goods and services in an economy. Imagine the economy as a basket full of goods: food, clothes, cars, houses, technology. And then imagine money as tickets to buy those things. If we suddenly double the number of tickets without increasing the amount of goods, what happens? Too many tickets chasing too few goods. The result? Prices rise. That's inflation. Inflation is simply the general increase in prices over time. And when governments go overboard with printing, inflation can skyrocket into what's called hyperinflation. Let's make this crystal clear with a story. Imagine a tiny isolated town. There are 10 families. Every morning, the local farmer produces 10 bottles of milk. Each bottle costs $1. Everyone in town has $10 to their name. It's a perfect, balanced economy. The new mayor wants to be popular. He decides to make everyone rich. He prints 1,000 new dollars and gives 100 to every family. Overnight, everyone feels wealthy. They now have $110 instead of 10. But the next morning, there are still only 10 bottles of milk. The store owner isn't stupid. He sees everyone has 10 times more cash. He knows they can pay more. So he raises the price to $20 a bottle. What happened? Did the milk change? No. Is the farmer richer? Not really. He still only has 10 bottles to sell. The only thing that changed was the number of dollars chasing the same amount of milk. The real wealth of the town didn't change at all. The money just became worthless. This is the absolute core of inflation. This isn't just a story. This is a horror story that has played out in real life. Our first stop, Germany, 1921. After World War I, Germany was forced to pay massive reparations. Their solution? Print the money to pay their debts. What followed was a nightmare called hyperinflation. At its peak in 1923, prices doubled every 2 days. Your life savings could become worthless overnight. People were paid twice a day, so they could run out and buy food before their cash lost all value. They needed wheelbarrows full of banknotes to buy a single loaf of bread. Families wallpapered their homes with money because it was cheaper than buying actual wallpaper. This economic collapse wiped out the life savings of the entire middle class. The social chaos and despair that followed directly paved the way for the rise of extremism and ultimately World War II, all because they wanted more cash. You might think that's ancient history. Let's jump to the 21st century. Zimbabwe, 2007. The government, led by Robert Mugabe, needed money, so they started printing it to pay for everything. The result was the worst hyperinflation in modern history. Inflation reached a mind-boggling 89.7 sextillion %. Yes, sextillion. They printed a $100 trillion note. But that note couldn't even buy a bus ticket. It was literally cheaper to use the money as wallpaper than to spend it. The currency became a global joke. People finally abandoned it entirely. The economy collapsed. To this day, Zimbabwe uses US dollars and South African rand because no one trusts their own currency. The printing press destroyed their monetary system. Our final heartbreaking example is modern-day Venezuela. It's a country sitting on the largest oil reserves in the world. They should be incredibly wealthy by now. But to fund massive government spending, they turned to the printing presses. The result? The bolivar became worthless. People couldn't afford food or medicine. They had to start weighing money because counting it was pointless. The government was forced to create a new currency, literally lopping off 5 zeros from the old bills. Imagine your bank account now after deleting 5 zeros. That's what happened. Venezuela's economy and society collapsed into a humanitarian crisis, with mass poverty and starvation, all fueled by the simple, catastrophic decision to print money. Printing money is like trying to quench a fire with gasoline. It doesn't fix the real issue, it just makes things way worse. It's a quick fix that ends up taking us straight to disaster. So, what can we learn from this? When we print more money, it doesn't magically increase the amount of goods, services, or wealth out there. All it does is lower the value of each dollar. Inflation eats away at savings, hits workers hard, and can wreck entire economies. As money loses its value, people start to lose faith in the whole system. And without that trust, the currency would just be a bunch of paper and ink. But wait, I hear you asking a smart question. What about foreign debt? If the US owes China money, why don't we just print dollars and send them over? China gets paid, problem solved. Here's why that's a self-destruct button. Other countries and international investors aren't stupid. They know about inflation. If the US floods the world with new dollars, the value of the US dollar would plummet on the global currency market. So, the billions we send to China would be worth a fraction of what they were supposed to be. China would immediately demand more dollars to make up the difference. Worse, they would lose all confidence in the dollar and stop using it for trade. This would crash the entire US economy overnight. You can't trick your creditors with monopoly money. So if printing money is economic suicide, what are the real solutions? How does a country actually grow its wealth and pay its bills? There are only 3 real ways, and they all require hard work. Number 1, productivity and innovation. This is the only true way to create wealth. Create more stuff. Develop new technology that makes us more efficient. If a new tractor allows one farmer to grow food for 100 people instead of 10, the country is genuinely richer. This is slow, hard work, but it's the only sustainable path. Number 2, controlled borrowing. Governments can borrow money by selling bonds. But this is not free money. This is a loan from investors, and it must be paid back with future tax revenue. This is only smart if the money is invested in things that will grow the economy faster than the debt. Number 3, taxation. This is the boring, unsexy, but honest answer. If a government needs to fund a program, it can raise taxes. This takes money from one part of the economy and puts it into another. It doesn't create new money, so it doesn't cause inflation. It's just redistributing existing resources. The idea of free money is the most dangerous fantasy in economics. It's a shortcut that leads to ruins. True wealth isn't created in a printing press. It's created by the hard work, ingenuity, and productivity of people. If this deep dive into one of economics' most important lessons was valuable to you, do me 3 huge favors. Number 1, smash that like button. It tells YouTube you want more content that explains the complex world of money and power. Number 2, subscribe, because next week, we're diving into another huge topic, the gold standard. Why we left behind the gold standard and what it means for your money today. Number 3, comment below. What was the most shocking part of this for you? The wheelbarrows of cash? The $100 trillion bill? Let me know. This is Bob helping you decode the economy. Remember, in a world of quick fixes and easy answers, true understanding is your most valuable asset.